Everybody's rushing in.
We all good? Yep. Can you say something real quick?
We are here at the DuPage County State's Attorney's Office, and he would probably be talking louder, and taller, and like that.
Thanks, Nancy. Well said, thank you. All right, bye. Nancy, thank you.
You're welcome.
You okay?
I'm good, right?
Yes. Oh. Here we go.
Sorry, Lee, I thought I was back up there and we were shooting, sorry.
I gotta show you the video. It's hilarious.
Did you like go
Completely in the back of your head. And then you said the question, I go, what?
And then it went to
Exactly a block and further. It was funny. It's okay. No worries.
turn around.
Hi, Marissa and Serena. We're actually inside the DuPage County State's Attorney's Office at the moment. We're waiting for a news conference that will begin in a couple of minutes. Police and prosecutors, by the way, say the suspect also stabbed the family's dog. Arson is on this list of charges too because he allegedly stacked things on the stove, poured some household chemicals over it and sanitizer to start a fire after allegedly stabbing his mother multiple times. It's 19-year-old Neda Baracus from Westmont who's looking at 3 counts of first-degree murder as well as an intentional homicide of an unborn child charge. Police say he cried in custody, confessed to killing Eliza Morales, and showed them where he stashed bloody clothes. Court documents reveal this deadly interaction with the Morales family began on Saturday with the purchase of a pickup truck from Eliza's husband through Facebook Marketplace. Baracus apparently returned to their Downers Grove home to collect a bill of sale from Eliza on Monday. That's when investigators say Baracus told them he got into a fight with the pregnant mom about the condition of the truck, attacked her with a knife, and lit the apartment on fire. An autopsy showed Eliza was stabbed 70 times. That was Eliza's mother-in-law speaking. She and other family members gathered for a vigil outside the Morales' burned apartment last night. Now, Baracus was already in court yesterday. He appeared again in court today to continue a hearing. We learned that he will be held in custody until his trial begins. His next court date is in mid-February. Again, we are inside the state attorney's office in DuPage County awaiting for a press conference from police and prosecutors. We'll bring that to you live as soon as it begins. For now, I'm Lauren Victory, CBS News Chicago.
guys are gonna have lights on, right? I probably leave this light, it's just a little camera. Couple minutes, guys, we just.
Put it over here.
Nice to do that, you know. Next time, so that's fine. I'll try to keep it down. Under 50 minutes. It's gonna be anyway, right? Let me just check something. Are you guys are professionals? Where would you like me?
And over it. You want it to be centered? Yeah. Yeah, behind and over is good. If it reaches.
Problem is, I won't be able to reach it. Who's the tallest man in here?
Does it go pretty high?
I hope so. No, you got, I'll work around you.
Well,
Mine? You want me to take this off?
no.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I thought I had done.
No, you should be good now.
No, the dog is under veterinary care.
Thank you.
We'll be careful not to bump it.
There's a photo of the dog in the pretrial
We're not
detention
going anywhere.
petition. I mean, you know, stitches. But it looked, yeah.
I mean, I think that they're gonna say.
See that? Some people got. You're the main person.
You're good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not glue or anything like that.
Oh, thank you.
I just went
Can you-
into the story.
There's a bump there.
Paul, as we know, is still alive.
Oh,
There's a
all right.
little,
No?
there's a little rise there.
You got the little rail.
Yeah, I think we're okay. Yeah.
Here you go.
Thank you. Yeah. That's fine.
Page 87 usually works for me.
87? I should have said 6, 7.
Please don't say that.
All right, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. All right, everybody's ready?
Go ahead and research what that really means. Don't ever let your kids say it again.
All right, be back in 1 second.
That's my son, he says it gives me pretty
pigeonhole.
Was it their people or news?
No, it's like, it was public parking, it wasn't.
Good morning. This morning, in first appearance court, the defendant, Nidas Ravukis, age 19, appeared in front of Josh Deaton on the state's motion to deny pretrial release for the murder of Eliza Morales. The Judge Deaton granted our motion, and the defendant's pretrial release has been denied. He will remain in custody. His next court date is February 18, 2026, in courtroom 4004 in front of Judge Brian Thielander. The state has charged the defendant with 3 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of intentional homicide of an unborn child, armed robbery, aggravated arson, and aggravated cruelty to animals. The state has alleged that on January 24, 2026, the defendant responded to an ad that was placed on Facebook Marketplace in regards to the purchase of a truck. The defendant purchased that truck from the victim and her husband. The victim and her husband had left their plates inadvertently on the truck, and arrangements were made for the defendant to return those plates on January 26, 2026. And on the afternoon of January 26th, the defendant arrived at the victim's residence, the apartment building located at 2327 Ogden Avenue in Downers Grove, a multifamily apartment building. The victim met the defendant, and the defendant retrieved or gave the victim the license plates. The victim gave the defendant a screwdriver. He went out to the truck and came back to the victim and entered the victim's residence. While the defendant was in the victim's residence, an altercation ensued, and it resulted in the defendant stabbing the victim 70 times, causing the victim's death and the death of her 5-month-old unborn child. The defendant also stabbed the family dog. Fortunately, the dog was able to escape and survive. Before the defendant was done, he took available materials and started a fire inside the apartment. The defendant then fled in the truck, and at 6:09 p.m., the Downers Grove Fire Department received a fire alarm from the victim's building. They responded, and when they arrived on the scene, they located Eliza near the door. When she was taken into an ambulance, firefighters observed injuries and noticed that she was deceased. The Downers Grove Fire Department was successfully able to put the fire out, and in addition, the Downers Grove Police Department responded, and the response in this case from law enforcement was overwhelming. The Downers Grove Police Department quickly identified the suspect in this case, and at 11:42, they observed the pickup truck in the driveway on a house on Spruce Lane in Westmont. At that time, the defendant was taken into custody. Subsequently, a search warrant was executed at the Spruce Lane address, and located in the course of that search warrant were boots that it is believed the defendant was wearing at the time of the offense, and the police observed what appeared to be blood on those boots. Additional clothing was also located at that residence. The preliminary results of the fire investigation is that there are 2 points of origin, the first being the kitchen stove and the second being the front door. The fire is currently determined as incendiary and started with normal combustible materials. The police continued their investigation, which led them to 63rd and Main, which is an Ace Hardware store, and in the garbage at that location, the police located additional clothing that the defendant had been wearing at the time of the offense. In addition, they located Eliza's work lanyard and work IDs from Lurie Children's Hospital, where Eliza worked, as well as Eliza's husband's debit card. There were gloves that appeared to have been blood that were located, as well as pieces of Eliza's phone. The police also executed a search warrant on the subject truck, and apparent blood was located on the driver's door and steering wheel. The preliminary cause of death to Eliza are numerous stab wounds in intrauteral fetal demise due to multiple sharp force injuries. This was a horrific act of violence that the people have alleged in this case. I want to thank the Downers Grove Police Department for an incredible, thorough investigation that continues to this day. The Downers Grove Fire Department, DuPage County Merit, which is the Emergency Response Investigative Team, the DuPage County Fire Investigation Task Force, the Office of the Illinois State Fire Marshal, and also multiple fire protection districts that responded to this fire. Violent crimes like this can shake a community to its core. But the public should be reassured that in Downers Grove and in DuPage County, public safety remains the number one priority. And the response in this case is a testament to the men and women in law enforcement in this county and how they respond to crimes like this. As I said earlier, the response was overwhelming. And as a result of that overwhelming response, a suspect was quickly arrested. He's been charged, and he's now being held in the DuPage County Jail until the time of his trial. The public should know that we will use every available resource in this county to bring a full measure of justice to the victim in this case. At this point, I will turn it over to Chief of Police Mike DeVries.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for being here. My name is Michael DeVries, D-E-V-R-I-E-S. I'm the Chief of Police in Downers Grove. I'm joined here by my Deputy Chief of Operations, Jim McGreal, my Lieutenant of Investigations, Jeremy Thayer, who led the investigation, and our team of investigators who were instrumental in making the arrest in this case. I want to start off on behalf of the Village of Downers Grove, the Downers Grove Fire Department, and the Downers Grove Police Department. I'd like to extend our sincere condolences to the family and loved ones of Eliza Morales. Eliza's death is deeply tragic and represents a profound loss, not only to her family and loved ones, but also to the Downers Grove community and beyond. The arrest reflects the tireless effort and dedication of our officers, detectives, and the assistant state's attorneys that worked with us, who worked throughout the night of the incident and into the following day with both care, urgency, and professionalism to identify and apprehend the person responsible on behalf of Eliza and her unborn child. Their lives were taken far too soon. As a police chief, this is the worst call that you can get. And, immediately once we started determining the circumstances that were involved here, we knew that our top priority was to solve this case. And as we began to develop information quickly and urgently, I could tell that somebody was looking over us. Somebody was helping us with this case. And I'm truly thankful. Not only was this outstanding police work, but somebody was looking over us and helping us gather this information and evidence in a very timely, quick, thorough, and professional manner, which led to this outcome. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that we have an outcome for Eliza, her family, and her unborn child. And I'm hopeful that this provides a sense of peace for the family as they deal with this tragic situation.
Take some questions.
One thing the judge harped on was her being stabbed 70 times. He claims that he was aware that she was pregnant because she screamed for help. She fought back. just talk to me about the crucialness of that, you know, covering these cases. I don't know what was the worst case in Downers Grove or DuPage County in the last few years, but, you know, is this kind of unbelievable in a way, just putting all this together?
It is a horrific act of violence, and it's not something that we typically see in DuPage County. It's unconscionable, an unconscionable level of violence that we have observed in this case. And our hearts go out to the victim's family who have to deal with this, and the entire community. Crimes like this have an impact on the entire community. So it's not something we typically see. But again, I want to stress the public needs to understand how law enforcement works in this county, and the public should be proud of all the men and women standing up here and the work that they have done and will continue to do on this case. It's remarkable.
During the court hearing came out that there was a sexual assault kit that was used, so do we expect rape or sexual assault charges in the future?
What I can tell you is that there are a number of pieces of evidence, including the sexual assault kit, that will be and have already been sent to our crime lab. They will be examined. The investigation continues. We will follow every single lead and every single piece of evidence. If they lead to additional charges that can be proved beyond a reasonable doubt, we will certainly file those charges. That's really all I can say at this point. Yes.
Will you be seeking a brutal and heinous enhancement?
We will be. Absolutely. That is something that we will file.
At this point in your investigation, do you get the sense that this was premeditated? Was there something that happened in an exchange between the two of them? Do you think that he intended to do this kind of harm when he came to her apartment?
What I can tell you, what we know so far, clearly the acts were intentional. The defendant is charged with intentional first-degree murder. At what point he formed the intent to stab the victim multiple times is something that we continue to look at and we continue to investigate. But that's really all I can comment on at this point.
I mean, this is really something that can resonate with a lot of people, right? With Facebook Marketplace, for example, being the point of contact between the defendant and the victim. What should people take away from a situation like this when meeting someone like this or inviting someone into their space of living space, potentially?
Well, I think that, any time that you're doing an online transaction with somebody that you don't know, there's obviously risks involved. And we've certainly heard cases of that, I think here in Illinois and throughout the country. And people can, try and take some precautions to, either find another way. It's very popular nowadays. Find another way or take some precautions, as many as they can, to try and ensure a safe transaction, a safe meeting place, trying to know the identity of the person that you're meeting with. That's really all I can add.
How are your officers and detectives doing having we just heard all of this in court, but they had to see all of this firsthand.
Yeah, this is a tragic incident. As I said, you never want to get a call like this, and then to learn further details of what occurred. All I can say is that when I said somebody was looking over us, I could tell you, looking back and during the investigation, this is a case that we knew that we had to solve, but there was a calm sense of urgency amongst our team. I felt that everybody was confident that we would find the person responsible, and I can only tell you that we were calm, we followed the basics, and we ended up with the result that we were looking for in a very quick amount of time. So, you could only hope, as the police chief and for the people that work these cases, that this is where you end up at the end of the day, just being able to provide a sense of peace to the victim's family and obviously find justice for Eliza and her unborn child.
The judge also mentioned how he really put all the
Sure. All the residents were displaced that evening. Some of them had places to go. Obviously, people were still evacuating at the time that the fire was started, so it generated a fire alarm. Some residents observed fire at that door on their way out. And luckily, everybody was able to get out safely. I'd just like to commend our fire department for their quick response, for their attempt at life-saving efforts with Eliza. We certainly worked to make sure that any residents that were displaced had a place to stay. So we worked internally with the fire department team, our village social worker, and the American Red Cross to help make sure those people are taken care of. So.
Court documents seem to indicate you returned to the apartment with a screwdriver in hand, but then also said the majority of her stab wounds were with a knife. Can you just clarify if you think the screwdriver was used in the puncture, any of the puncturing?
We know that the injuries were described as sharp force injuries. We cannot determine at this point how many injuries came from a knife or some other type of a weapon. It may have been a screwdriver, but that is something that we hope to uncover in the course of the investigation.
Has the knife been recovered?
There was a search for the knife. To this point, at this point, the answer is no.
Would you be able to give us a sense of the suspect's demeanor? I mean, they mentioned in court today that he didn't show any remorse, at least at first.
So during our first contact with the suspect, he was taken into custody without any issues, cooperative. We began our first interview, which was not very fruitful, other than telling us that he was there. And then later on, during the second interview, obviously he made statements, that implicated him in the crime.
Would it be possible if the attorney who spoke in court today, if you would be able to spell your name for us as well?
Sure. Let's see, come up here.
I apologize. It's Alyssa, ALYSSA. Last name's RAB, as in boy, ULINSKI.
And I do want to say, Alyssa Rabelinski is the first chair in the office. She and our supervisor, Helen Kappas, spent hours and hours at the Downers Grove Police Department working with the police on this case, and a special shout out to them and all the work that they put in.
Do we have a Spanish speaker that can have for this press conference?
For this press conference? I don't think so. No, I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.